What's up, guys? M. Jones back in the house again for another top 10 list. Today, my top 10 list is top 10 actors I despise, get annoyed with, and also cannot stand. On or off the screen, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a couple honorable mentionables and also a top 10 list. 10 being the least hated to 1 being the most hated. So we're going to get started. So, number 10. The guy that I just do not like. Number 10, Steven Seagal. I can't even, I heard, I was not going to put him on the list, but he's had a pretty big amount of movies he's been in, and he's just so awful. He's so monotone and just so one-dimensional, and just always like, oh, you're gonna go get on the plane. You're gonna get on the plane, it's a good idea. Yeah, he's just always like, just so like, whatever. And I used to love when Will Sasso would play him on Mad TV. I mean, he was so funny. And I just think he's such an awful actor. And obviously that's why he's on my list. But he's number 10. I mean, number 1's like the worst. So get ready for a bunch of people you might not agree with or agree with. Number 9, Thomas Hayden Church. If you're not sure who he is, he really got his start on Wings, that USA Network show. And he was in the movie Sideways, which was a huge movie hit back in like 2004. And he was in Killer Joe, I think, with Matthew McConaughey about 2 years ago. He's just so, again, one-dimensional, monotone, always has the same expression on his face. And he's just very like, oh, we're going to play golf today? Okay, that's great. Okay. I want to play golf. Yeah, I'll play golf. He's just like, that's how he talks. It's like, God, it's like, just kill me. There's like no personality. Every movie he's in, he's very one-dimensional. I don't think he's that good of an actor at all. I think he's very boring. If that's his stick, whatever, but like that gets on my complete nerves. I'm not a big fan. Number 8, Mr. Vin Diesel. He's just, he's awful. You know, I thought in Saving Private Ryan, when he had a very small role as Caparza, I thought he was pretty good, especially when he got shot and he was like, you know, give this letter to my family. Like, I thought that was really compelling, really good. But anything else he's been in has just been so bad. And I don't know if Fast and the Furious ruined him or if he ruined Fast and the Furious. I've yet to figure that out. But I just remember seeing him in Fast and the Furious, and he was like a huge heartthrob, and I didn't get it. I didn't get his whole thing with acting. I thought he was terrible. I don't know. I've never understood him. Excuse me, at all. So that's why I have him on the list. I just never big on him. Number 7, Nicolas Cage. It's just because every movie he plays confused, exhausted, very just like lethargic. It's always the same thing. It's always like, he's always just like that. He's always like, yeah. He's just always like so just, like he's just shocked by everything. It's like, hey Nick Cage, you know the sky's blue? Where? Oh yeah. Like, it's like, are you an idiot? Like, I don't get it. His movies, I think, are so boring. I don't know. I did like The Family Man. I liked The Rock. But I don't think he was the reason I liked him. I just like the stories. You know, I like the action in The Rock, and I like the message in, you know, Family Man. But I never liked him. I always thought he was just very just strange. And recently he was in that movie Kick-Ass, and just I don't know. I still didn't like him. Like, I wanted to so bad because I love the movie Kick-Ass, and I loved his daughter in the movie, Chloe Grace Moretz, aka Hit Girl. But I just could not like him. He just still had the same just monotone, just simple, like just a dumbass look on his face. And, you know, I love the movie, what's it called? National Treasure. Is that National Treasure? National Treasure, National Treasure. Yeah, National Treasure. Disney's National Treasure, which came out in the 2000s. And I loved that movie. But I loved it because, you know, of Jon Voight. I loved it because of the woman in the movie who plays Sonya in the show The Bridge now on FX. I can't remember her name. That's terrible. But, you know, I really just do not like him. I don't know what it is. I think he's very boring. Number 6, I mean, this guy's still young, so he might have a chance, but I think he's awful. Taylor Lautner, number 6. He is the worst actor ever. And I'm just saying, and I put him at 6 and not at 1 because I have a lot more hatred for the remaining 5. But this guy, he is so bad. Like, in Twilight, I never saw a Twilight movie in its entirety, thank God. but I have seen parts with him, and I was like, oh Jesus. And then what was that movie he was in? I think like a year or so ago, or 2 years ago. I think called Abduction or something like that. I mean, God, I don't know. God knows, but his acting and his timing is just piss poor. It is so bad, and I had to laugh every time he was. Anytime I've seen him on TV, he was bad. At Saturday Night Live, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, I don't remember. Awful. He has like such a high pitched voice, so I can't take him serious if he's trying to be like an action star. You know, if you have an action star that's like all badass, he's like that. You know what I'm saying? He's like, let's go get some cheeseburgers. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Where's your man card at? Because it's not in your pocket. I do not like Taylor Lautner. I just think he's just awful. And he has a couple more years before I completely hate him and put him on one in some other list. Number 5. This guy was okay in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, but Russell Brand. That Get Him to the Greek movie, Just Kill Me. That movie, what was that movie he was in not that long ago? Alfie? No. Was it Alfie? I don't remember. I don't remember what that was called. It was like maybe like 2 years ago. I forget what it was. But it was awful. It was awful. It was like a Dudley Moore movie. And it was awful. Please comment if you know what that is. I can't think of it offhand. It was awful. And Forgetting Sarah Marshall, he was pretty good. But Jason Seagal was the reason that movie was outstanding. And Kristen Bell and Mila Kunis. I think he's just so annoying. He's just so freaking British. And it's too much British. You know? Like some British people, you know, you can't tell that are that over the top. Like Daniel Craig, you can't really tell. Like, you know, Tom Hardy, you can't really tell. Or maybe it's not that I can't tell, it's just they're not annoying. Well, Russell Brand is so annoying, and he is the creepiest human being to look at. I literally think he looks like a dragon and a snake had a child. Like, that's how he looks. He's just a creepy looking person. And he's annoying as shit. And I don't really get the stand-up. I don't. I just don't. I'm just not into that. I don't know. That's just my thing. Number 4. A lot of people, I think, disagreed with me when I was telling some other people about my list. And I'll explain why. Number 4, Seth Green. You're probably thinking, oh, he's so funny and he's blah, 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 blah. I don't get it. Like, every movie he's in, he's basically just the same character. Sarcastic as all hell. And not the sarcastic that you like. Like, I like humble sarcasm. He's a dick sarcasm. He's very condescending. You know, some people are sarcastic. I'm sarcastic, but I'm not a dick about it. Like, I'm more humble. I like people like that can kind of like just give you a little of their sense of humor. You know, sarcasm to me is just a preview of sense of humor. That's what I think. He's just an asshole in every movie. And in real life, he just seems like a complete prick. I've seen his interviews. He's just always like, yeah, would you got a cheeseburger there? Yeah, how is it? It's like, okay, Beavis and Butthead in person. Hello, how are you? He's awful. Seth Green, you suck. I didn't like him in anything. People always thought he was so funny in Sex Drive. I just thought he was a dick. I didn't really get into that character. I wasn't laughing much with what he had to say. And when he was Scott in Austin Powers, he wasn't awful there, but I still just did not like his, you know, just apathetic attitude. I know that's his character. I get that. But I've seen his interviews, and he's just it just seems like a douchebag. I don't like him. Sorry, don't like him. It's my list. Number 3, I mentioned this guy last week during a review of the movie Lovelace. Check it out if you haven't seen my review yet. That was with Amanda Seyfried. But number 3 on my list is Peter Sarsgaard. Now, you're probably wondering who he is. Peter Sarsgaard he's kind of in a lot of independent movies, a lot of the Lionsgate movies, and a lot of just like the Sundance Festival stuff and the Cannes Festival stuff. He's always in those. He hasn't really hit it big. But he has a very just annoying voice, and I can't take him. I just can't take him serious. I don't know. I've really tried to take him serious, but just the way he talks, I just can't do it. I can't do it. And every time he talks, he's just always like, oh, we're going to get on the motorcycle, and we're going to go for probably like 2 miles. Maybe 2.5 miles, probably 4 miles. You know what? Let's go 5. He's just so like, oh my God. He reminds me of like a human notebook. Like how you write notes. That's like how he talks. He just keeps going and just does not stop. And oh my God. I cannot stand him. Peter Sarsgaard drives me insane. If you're not sure who he is, his last name is Sarsgaard. Okay, check him out. Okay, he's just not that good. I think he always plays the same character, very apathetic, very tries to be suave, and he's not. It's like, come on, it's like, try something else. Take a different role. And I think he's married to Maggie Gyllenhaal, who I can't stand either. All right, number 2. This one was a tough one for me. My number 1 and number 2, I think, are just about equal. Just about equal, but the number 1's just a little bit more. But number 2 for me is Matt Damon. Matt Damon, you know, he had a great start with me as a fan. I really loved him in Good Will Hunting, and I thought he was really good in Saving Private Ryan. That's it. The Bourne movies, I thought his action was pretty badass, but his character himself, like when he talked, I got annoyed. And every movie he's done since then, since the early 2000s, I have not been into at all. I think he just has this real pompous attitude about him, and he just rubs me the wrong way. He seems like one of those guys where he's like, you know, I want to raise all this money and do all this stuff to stop like child hunger, but like he would throw away all his extra food in his own home. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't really actually, he's not really a poster child for what he preaches. I just get that feeling. I have no proof of this, but just the way his personality is, I just see that smug, I don't like him. I don't know what it is. I just do not like him. I never have. Up until about like 2000s, I thought he was okay. But then when early 2000s hit, I just thought his movies started to be terrible. And I was so happy that he was just a complete douchebag in The Departed, because I love seeing him get shot and killed by Mark Wahlberg at the end. That was great. I was so like, yeah. I was in the theater cheering. And not just because he was the bad guy, just because I don't like him. So that was enjoyable. Okay. My number one. A lot of people, again, were surprised by this. But, you know what? It's my list. Number 1, David Spade. I don't know. David Spade. Tommy Boy, Black Sheep. What else can we think of? Those 2 movies come to my mind right now that you were okay in. You know why? Because Chris Farley picked up everything off the pavement that you were lying flat on. That's it. Every other movie, awful. I've never liked anything he's been in. I think he is a complete prick. I heard in real life he's a real prick. And I feel like he plays who he is in real life, in the movies. I feel like he's that guy. He's just always like, oh, cool, okay. Well, I'm just going to hang out here and do nothing. But he's just always like, it's like, dude, do you give a shit about anyone? Like, he just seems so, like, only about him. Everything's about him. I do not like David Spade. I've never liked him. I thought he was a complete prick on SNL. I thought he was a complete prick in real life. I thought he was a complete... I don't like him. I don't like him at all. But that's my top 10 list. I'm going to give you a few honorable mentions, okay? These were really tough not to put in my top 10 list, but I was really careful in picking the exact top 10 that I wanted. But these are my honorable mentions. I'm not going to go too in-depth with all of them. Number 1 for me is Ben Affleck. I don't hate him, but I really feel like he's getting way too much credit right now. For the past couple years, it's all about Ben Affleck. Like, he's the next big thing. He plays the same character in every movie. He always plays that, he always has nervous confidence. You know what I mean by that? Like, oh yeah, I have a great hand in poker. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's like, do you? Like, he always has, nervous confidence in movies. And he always just strokes Boston's penis any chance he can. It's like, dude, can you maybe go to another city and maybe try to prosper that area? It's always about Boston. I don't get that. I'm a huge Philadelphia sports fan. But, I have no problem endorsing Florida for a second, or maybe saying, hey, the state of Washington is nice. It's like, Ben, loosen up a little bit. He's just always about Boston. And I don't get that. It's so one-dimensional to me. It's like, it just drives me insane. Second person, honorable mention. Shia LaBeouf. One word describes him. Overactor. Everything and I hope that's one word. Everything he does, it just is over the top. I don't hate him, though, because I used to love him on Even Stevens. That's the only reason why he didn't touch this list, is because I loved him on Even Stevens as Louis Stevens. I thought he was hysterical. But he's a little smug little prick, and he thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and he just overacts everything. He's just, when he yelled Bumblebee like a little bitch in Transformers, that was it for me. Oh, dude, grow a set of balls. Okay. last one I'm going to talk about. Not really like a huge actor now, but was an actor at some point and did the movie Fever Pitch, which I hated. Jimmy Fallon. There's nothing worse when someone thinks that they're funny. If you're funny, people will notice that, and you'll never have to say it because they'll tell you. Jimmy Fallon to me is one of those guys where he will say a joke and right away be expecting like a huge applause. Like he'll say some kind of joke and he'll be like, "Come on." It's like no, I'm not laughing now. You hurt my laughing feelings. Like I have no interest of laughing. He's just one of those guys that always feels like he's the funniest guy in the whole place, and everyone has to like kiss his ass and take notes for how funny he is. Dude, I have no interest. I have none. Absolutely no interest in your I guess you think you're so funny. So that those guys annoy me, but they're not on my top 10 list. But be looking very soon for my top 10 list of actresses that I can't stand, that I despise, and that annoy me. But until then, you take it easy and bye.